Hi! So this came as a sort of unexpected, but definitely a welcome surprise. Conquest of Eo, or rather its developers, have released a Developer Insight vlog, or just Developer Insight post on the Steam forums, which I'm a big fan of. If you guys don't know, back in the day with Phenomic, they would always have developer insights and they would release them periodically, and it was always a lot of fun to read. It gave us a lot of new information. Now, this video is not scripted. I'll just go through the article, read it with you, and comment on a few things, which I very much like. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the developer insight is called Journey to the Dark Tower, and it's the first one, which leads me to believe we'll have more, which I genuinely hope we will. There's an interesting image up here. If I'm not mistaken, this image was confirmed to be 7 keeps. At the time, it was also in some promotional shots, but I think it was confirmed to go in that direction. And that it's a city that we'll be playing in. Now, obviously, this looks different from the 7 keeps we have in SpellForce 2, but then again, 400 plus years have passed, the convocation and everything. Obviously, these places will not look the same, but the city looks nice, and I like the art style of the game. Now, moving forward. Greetings, esteemed wizards. This is the first installment of our devlog, where we update you with the news and insights about the game and design process, aka the ramblings of a game developer. After we returned from Gamescom with a lot of enthusiastic feedback and had the chance to watch gameplay and enjoy the game while lurking behind them, watch gamers play, sorry, we stuck our collective heads together and looked at what we could do better. So this is always nice, taking in feedback, improving the game depending on what people say. Always glad to hear that. The game is already in a very stable state, so we can focus on improving gameplay and balance and the challenges we put in front of you as an up-and-coming mage in the world of Eo. One thing we noticed is that while people loved the exploration, there was so much to do that it was not clear to everyone what they should do first or what is at stake for the major story in the game, so we wanted to give some structure to the initial phase of the game and also show you what you are up against. Which leads us to the Circle Mages, and this part is interesting. Founded a little over a century ago by the preeminent wizards of their age, they will stop at nothing to prevent you from learning their secret mastery of the All-Fire, also called the Archfire by some. Now, this has a lot of cool and good infos in it. First of all, over a century ago, this was pretty much already confirmed, but this game takes place around 100 years after the Circle was established, so we're looking at like 400 BC-ish, sort of. And preeminent. For those of you who don't know what preeminent means, it means that the Circle Mages were the best mages of their time when the Circle was established. Which is great, because certain games completely ignored that part, and it's nice to see that we're actually focusing on what was said in the canon and the type of mages these Circle Mages were. So I'm really happy to see that here. And yeah, they want to prevent you from learning the mastery of the All-Fire. Now, this might be confusing to some people, in the sense that, are the Circle Mages going to be straight up bad guys in this game, or are they just going to be, you know, not necessarily bad, but trying to prevent you from getting the All-Fire? I think it's more of the second part. Like, they aren't necessarily evil, but one of the jobs of the Circle Mages was to prevent the misuse of magic. So if we are trying to sort of dip our toes into that direction, it's in the interest of the Circle to control that or to prevent us. So I wouldn't even necessarily say that the Circle is going to be bad in a sort of black and white sense, but more so that they're just doing their job and it's conflicting with the interest of our main character. At least that's what I'm getting from all the info we've gotten so far. And yeah, the All-Fire, the source of all magic on Eo, this is also very correct. Which of course is precisely what you set out to do. Yeah, there we go. Initially, we had you hunt down one of their minions to gain more information about it, but this didn't really convey the power of what you're up against. Also, our designer took matters into his hands and presented us with a new solution. Planting one of their towers right next to your own, cranking out fantastical monsters and dialing up the heat from the get-go, while also giving you a first clear goal: get rid of those neighbors. Now, the towers, I've talked to a couple of people regarding the towers, and the opinions were sort of mixed. I'm not sure if I can make these images bigger, but you can see it a bit better here. So the Circle Mages, as well as our own character, will have towers, and these towers are going to, or a tower, sorry, and this is going to be sort of the main base of operation from what we do everything. And I'm sort of ashamed to admit it, but while I was making a video yesterday, that shitpost video, I was watching the intro to The Order of Dawn, and it was a complete oversight on my end. It's from the Order of Dawn intro when the two Rowans fight in a tower. So in that regard, I'm really happy to see how that all connects to the previous games, and this is kind of being pushed forwards here, this idea, which is cool. I like that. Now, going from there, these towers will be able to move, and from the discussion that I've also had is, how are these towers going to move? Is there going to be some special sort of mechanic? Are we going to be able to move our tower as well? This was brought up in a GameStar interview not too long ago, where the developers were asked about this. I don't think they gave a concrete answer, but I've been trying to think about how it would be possible for towers to move, or what someone could do in order to have a building go from place A to place B, because, well, buildings don't usually do that. However, there is one thing that fits with the region Conquest of Eo plays in, because it plays in sort of the high mark, and I'm gonna bring up a map at this point. Well, it plays in the high mark, and depending on how far it goes, the magnet stones in like close and around the crater that we know from SpellForce 2 were there at this point. They were there some 500-600 years before the circle was even established in the first place. So what I'm thinking is that might sort of play into it, because those can levitate and the circle can use the all-fire. So if the circle has found a way to harness these levitating magnetic crystals and infuse their towers with it in order for the towers to move from place A to place B, that would make sense, at least in my opinion. Now, of course, I want to know what you guys think about this, and this is clearly, as they state here, a game mechanic, right? It's meant to serve the gameplay, but even with gameplay mechanics, I like to look into ways in which these could make sense inside the lore of the game. And this, at least in my opinion, would be an acceptable solution, depending on how it's explored. Now, this worked very well and focuses players on strategizing early on about how to deal with the threat, while at the same time giving you some juicy rewards to look forward to. It's a small thing, but it made some of the early game phases feel challenging and interesting without railroading the player into a specific course of action. This may not look like much now, but when a fire-spewing demonic beast comes at you the first time and you field a mage's apprentice and a few goblins, the heat is literally on. So yeah, if it works for the gameplay, I've got nothing against it. It can be explained in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to see what they'll bring us next. Now, this is everything for this dev blog. You can wishlist Conquest of Eo. I would suggest you go and like this developer insight on Steam. The link will be in the description below, because it shows the developers that we care about this, and it costs us nothing. And yeah, glad to see info from the development. I always think it's very nice when developers are transparent with fans and, you know, with the people that will be eventually buying the game, hopefully. And this is a very nice way of doing so. With that, I would like to thank you for watching. Like the video if you did, subscribe not to miss any more Conquest of Eo or SpellForce infos, and later today I'll be streaming SpellForce on Twitch. The link will also be in the description below. It's gonna go live in some 6 or 7 hours from when this video is up, so if you want to check me out there, do that. I appreciate it. With that, thanks again for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.